what's good, everyone? Welcome to Love Our City session number 2. And I'm here hanging out in my city at this vibrant place called USF, the University of South Florida, close to 50,000 students from over 145 countries. And I'm here with the college director from our church, my man, John Punch. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing,
bro?
Good.
So we have this crazy Love Our City story, and he leads a college ministry that didn't even exist just a couple of years ago. So John, tell us how you first heard about Crossover.
Okay, it was a great story. So I was just moved to Tampa, and I was driving up and down Fowler Avenue. And everywhere I went on that Saturday, I saw people with these red shirts on, okay?
Yeah, not white,
they were red shirts, exactly. And so everywhere I was driving, I'd see people, they were at the grocery store pushing out people's carts, loading people's groceries into their car. They were at the washateria helping people do their laundry. They were at the car wash. They were at the corner praying with people. And I said, you know what? I got to see what this church is about, because they're actually touching people's lives. Yeah. So I said, eventually I'll get around to that. I'll check it out. So I go home and I get on the internet and I'm like, let me find this church. And so I said, all right, God, if they have a service at 12:30 on Sunday, I'm going to get out of bed. I'm going to go to it. And well, as you know,
we had a 12:30
we have a 12:30 service.
It was a sign.
It was a total sign. So I get up, go there, and I go in the church, and I was amazed at all the excitement, the energy, the lights, the music, the worship, the whole Spirit of God was amazing. And I said, you know what? I have a friend who really be interested in this church. And so I sent him a text message and said, hey man, I said, Scott, you got to check out this church in Tampa. And 3 minutes later, you come out on stage and you say, hey, welcome to our friend Scott, who's just happened to be here. And it's my friend. I'm like, no way. And we were sitting on the exact same row.
You look down like, hey, bro, I just texted you.
It's amazing. It's a great story.
It's crazy. So, yeah, Pastor Scott is from Atlanta. And at the time, he was running this ministry called City Takers, which he still does. But now we actually launched the Crossover Church ATL, and him and his wife are the pastors.
Yeah,
and
it's amazing.
So it's a crazy story. So that's how we first met. I remember in the lobby after service, Scott, brought you up to me. Oh, it's my friend John. We met in Budapest.
In Budapest, Hungary, that's right.
Doing missions work over there like years ago. And so it's like, yeah, you guys need to connect. And so we had lunch. And so I had lunch with John and talked, and he had this passion for college students. And we have this university that's right in the neighborhood of our church. This is literally like right up the street on Fowler Avenue.
Yeah.
And so we said, man, we've done some things for students, but we haven't had anything solid, consistent, and regular. And so we began to dream and talk together.
Pray.
Yep. A few months later, we launched it with 2 college students.
2 college students. And we went from 2 college students to right at 100 college students in less than 6 months.
Yeah. And then that was even 100 college students that were showing up, being involved, going to conferences, being involved in retreats and weekends, and just coming to a weekly summer Bible study. I mean, it was an amazing amazing time. God was just moving. Opportunities all around for people to grow spiritually and to really make an impact on this campus for God's glory. It's been amazing. Yeah, so that all happened through Love Our City. We met leaders through Love Our City.
Yeah.
Ministries were launched through loving our city and reaching out to our neighbor. And so here's the crazy thing. Even during the pandemic, we know that discipleship has went digital and everything has changed. We know you guys are watching this digitally. So another cool story is you moved back to Texas for a little while.
Right.
And so I called you during the pandemic and was like, hey, we're about to do all of our small groups virtually. And we wouldn't have did this before, wouldn't have even thought of it, but would you lead a virtual group from Texas for the students in Tampa, because you know all of them and they miss you? And so all summer during the pandemic, you led a group and touched dozens of college students on Zoom.
Yeah. And
you were all the way in another state.
Yeah, it was amazing. The distance didn't seem to matter. People just wanted to connect, and we had already established relationships and trust, and so we were able to grow the community and to weekly check in throughout the summer, and really to provide a sense of comfort and familiarity during a time when people need to really connect and just feel that touch. And so we were there.
Yeah, so we've all been thinking differently about discipleship since the pandemic happened. And we've realized we can leverage digital and video and Zoom and all those different things. And so we've had many people involved in our groups that weren't even from our city. They're watching from other cities. And so you guys get that. A lot of you guys are watching this right now.
And so, hey, so we're going to continue the study today. So pull out your Love Our City book and go to day 14. Right after day 14 is video session number 2 of what we're watching today. And you can take some notes. And listen, if you didn't get a book yet, you can still go grab one at loveourcitybook.com. And if you get it from there, me and Punch will throw in a free CD for you as well. Free hip hop CD for you as well. So here's the first fill-in to write down. And this is something I've learned from Love Our City, doing it again and again and watching God show up. And you taught me this as well. So we're called to bless our neighbors. But many times when we bless our neighbors, they can end up being a blessing to us.
Absolutely.
So I've recently heard about these college students that were set up. So several of them had to give this speech presentation in the classroom across the campus, and they cleared everyone out of the area that was along the way. And so they planted someone there that was having a medical emergency. And so that person was asking for help from these college students that passed by. So what do you think the percentage was of those that stopped to help him? So right now, just right in the middle of this, I want you to pause, and if you're watching this with some other people, just talk to each other about what you think the percentage is of the students that actually stopped to help the person in need. I'll give you a minute. Go ahead. So what was the percentage? Drum roll. Less than 20% stopped. That's it. So when I'm hearing this story, I'm immediately thinking about the story of the Good Samaritan, because I've been studying it and preaching about it with the Love Our City series. And so I'm hearing this story, and this person then dropped a serious truth bomb. They revealed that the college students were not just any college students, they were seminary students studying to be in full-time ministry, and they were going to present a speech about the story of the Good Samaritan. Boom. Are you serious? And the percentages were that low, less than 20%. Listen, many people know the truth and even preach the truth, but they don't always live the truth. So we know the right things to believe, the right things to say, but when real life situations, when they present themselves, many times we just drop the ball. We're too caught up in our own world. We're rushing. We're too busy. Maybe we're having a bad day. Maybe we're just too intimidated, or we're just shy. We're insecure. Listen, y'all, believers, we got to step it up. In Luke chapter 10, verses 25 to verse 37, Jesus taught us a huge lesson about loving all of our neighbors. And Jesus switched up the image of the Samaritan from despised to good. That's right, everybody knows the story as the Good Samaritan, but Samaritans were not known as good in Jesus' culture. And he totally flipped the script and made the Samaritan the hero of the story. I mean, literally changed the narrative of a whole people group. And you know what that shows? Jesus was against racism and discrimination, because he was shining a positive light on an ethnic group that people look down on. And our world needs to hear this today more than ever with all the division, right? Remember, Jesus said, go and make disciples of what nations? All nations, not just the Jews, not just the people that were educated, not just the people at a certain income level, or the people who had good credit or papers or whatever. No, the gospel is not exclusive, it's inclusive. It's available for everyone, for all of our neighbors in our city. Young, old, rich, poor, black, white, gay, straight, educated, uneducated. Doesn't matter what your background is. Doesn't matter what mistakes that you made. Doesn't matter what your record is. The gospel is for everyone. And the gospel can change everyone and transform us when we put our faith and our trust in Jesus. Then we begin to become more like him. So as God transforms us, he uses us to reach others and then raise them up so they can reach even more people. And so there's a great model that we see in Scripture that Paul uses, where he reached people that became like spiritual sons. And then they transitioned from becoming his sons into his students. Then eventually they became his partners in ministry. Maybe some of you guys watching this, you've experienced that with some people, somebody you mentored, or someone that maybe mentored you, and it's a beautiful thing, right? Over the years, I've had many spiritual sons and even daughters, and you'll read about them in some of the upcoming chapters. And one that's not included in the book, it actually deals with two people. One is a spiritual son, one's a spiritual daughter that's actually my biological daughter. And we recently recorded Love Our City anthem song and music video together. And my daughter was a student that became a partner as she sang on the hook of the song. I'm super proud of her. I'm a proud dad, right? And so we've been able to travel and perform that song at several different churches around the country and different events. And the other guy that's on the song is a spiritual son. I've known him since he was a teenager. I used to actually pick him up from the housing projects in the church van. Like way back in the day, he would come to youth group, and that's when he was like 13, 14 years old. Now you can see he's much taller than me. He's a big dude. I'm pretty tall, I'm over 6 foot, but he's like 6'5", right? And so God is using him and his music, and he's a leader in our juvenile detention center ministry at our church. We have a team that goes in every week and ministers to teenagers that have gotten in trouble. And so it's been this incredible experience as you watch seeds that you plant when they begin to grow. So I want to encourage you guys out there today, keep planting those seeds. Start planting more seeds. Keep adopting spiritual sons and spiritual daughters, and keep loving our city. They go from spiritual sons and daughters to students to partners, and we love our city even more. So God wants to use us to change one life at a time. Let's go love our city.